Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I want to discuss the first release that Johnny Cash did for Rick Rubin's American Recordings, and that is Cash, the American Recordings. This was released way back, I believe this is like 94. I remember when this happened, I was in grade 9, and at this point, what was huge at this point? It was like Nirvana, of course, Soundgarden was big, Pearl Jam were huge. Rancid had low-key landed with Salvation, but it would be a little while more before Rancid would blow up. The Offspring were fucking on fire with Come Out and Play and Self-Esteem. The Smashing Pumpkins, with I think it was it 1979 was everywhere, and definitely Tonight Tonight, that was everywhere. I think, at least. It doesn't matter. 94 was a fun time for music. And this record is an excellent example of that because it showed how Rick Rubin was able to fully transform Johnny Cash, who at this point his career was pretty much over and his best years were, mistakenly enough, behind him. The assumption would be made that his best years were behind him. But thanks to Rick Rubin stripping down his sound so it's just Cash and his guitar, Rick Rubin reinvented the man for all of us who only knew who he was through the tracks that we'd hear our parents play here and there. But specifically, Delia's Gone. Delia's Gone was the single that was all over Much Music, and it made Cash cool. The video was a little bleak, the song is definitely bleak, and my generation at that point, we were all obsessed with being bleak. All Gen X's attitude summed up in a word is whatever. And that was everybody's attitude. Like, it was like, oh, yeah, you're on fire. Whatever. Like, oh, I'm dying. Whatever. Like, oh, so-and-so is in a car accident. Whatever. And it was almost like we were all Daria in our own sort of not Daria kind of ways. But this record for me, of course, I wouldn't get hip to Cash till I believe American 3, if memory serves. Let's figure that one out. Where's Solitary Man? Let's see how right I am. Where is it? Yes, yeah, it would be here because it's the Mercy Seat and I See a Darkness. So yes, I would not get hip to this record for a couple more releases. Or not to this record, I wouldn't get hip to Cash. New Cash, 90s Cash. For a couple more releases. But I remember this being everywhere. And then when I would finally go back and start collecting these, because I sort of clued into how brilliant they were. I mean, Delia's Gone is on here. Bird on a Wire, Tennessee Stud, used brilliantly by Quentin Tarantino and Jackie Brown. What else? The Man Who Couldn't Cry. The song's a riot. It's so much fun. However, the most important song on here for me, being a massive Danzig fan, is the track 13, and that is because it is written by one Glenn Danzig, specifically for Johnny Cash. So that's sort of like a double whammy of cool for me. It's Johnny Cash playing a song that was written for him by Glenn Danzig, a man that I have worshipped since I was in like grade 4. So this is very exciting. This is an incredibly solid release. Rubin really had his finger on the pulse of, well, everything, pretty much. Rick Rubin, had to do an entire series of videos on how important Rick Rubin's influence is on the history of music over the past 4 decades. Like, it doesn't matter whether you got into hip-hop or you got into metal. Rick Rubin's kind of responsible for the modern waves of both. I mean, Russell Simmons was the business brains behind Def Jam, and Rick Rubin was the sound behind Def Jam. So Rick Rubin was busy working with people like, Run DMC and Public Enemy and like LL Cool J and shit. The people who were at the beginning and sort of the forefront of hip-hop way back when. But then at the same time, he would find System of a Down. He would produce one of my favorite Metallica records of all time. And he would be like an integral part, the most integral part of turning the Red Hot Chili Peppers from a college band into a mainstream superstar fucking cash cow. You know, because prior to Rick Rubin hooking up with them, with I think it was Blood Sugar Sex Magic, like I said, they were a college band. The Uplift Mofo, Party Plan and shit, you know, the records were doing okay, but Rubin was the one that transformed them from a college band into a full-on band. And he was able to do it with Cash. Rick Rubin, the Beastie Boys too. Rick Rubin has done so much. Like Rick Rubin's influence on, like I said, the past 4 decades of music, it can't be ignored and it can't be denied. Without him, the last 4 decades of music may not have happened. But yeah, so I am going to cut it there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while I attempted to discuss Cash's first record for Rubin's American records. And I ended up talking more about Rubin, I think, that I did about Cash, but whatever, it's what I do. I kind of get sidetracked and everything. Yeah. Don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you guys really soon.